So we're in the casting process now, and it's like, you know, first big feature film.
Our casting director, Lindsay Shag, got us this little theater. It was the first thing that we had done that felt like, okay, this is an actually legitimate process here.
It felt pretty cool because you're in like an auditorium, and Lindsay's ushering the next one in and like taking the next one out.
And so I just really enjoyed watching people come in and really, you know, give it 100%. Everybody that walked into that room wanted to be in the movie.
Getting the right type of people that were down for anything, like game for any kind of like pea soup in the face kind of thing was like key.
Yeah, I read this script and I thought it was completely insane. I was like, what are these guys doing? I'm almost there! Yes!
Oh,
yes!
don't use your hand.
Yes!
Sarah Glendenning like was the only person that like just nailed it.
So what have you got to say about that, nerd?
Surge vomit.
Is that the one?
Nice lead. That's an interesting.
Are we minding vomit?
That was like a blast of vomit.
And there was, and her acting was so good, and there was something about her face that just glowed. And it was impossible like to put your eyes anywhere else in the room. So we're just like, you're the one.
Hang on, bitches. I got this.
I really liked the character of Mandi because she kind of starts out as a villain and then ends up being, you know, pretty sympathetic and ends up coming around. She's got a lot of depth of character. You know, she starts out working for this big company and, you know, she thinks she's doing the right thing, but along the way she finds some heart, she finds some integrity and decides to go with that.
Mandi is the character that the nerd doesn't trust. He thinks that girls know nothing about video games, and in fact she happens to not be a gamer at first. She's all business, but then she beats the nerd at the power pad and proves him wrong, and she becomes a gamer. And then the whole guy saving the girl, you know, like rescuing the princess mentality just gets thrown completely out the window because the nerd just ditches her and then she has to save herself.
One of the really cool things about Mandi is that she's tough, you know? She knows how to take care of herself.
She came to set that one day and she was like, you know what? I want to do my own stunts. And we're like, okay, do your own stunts. And meanwhile, we have the stunt girl with the red wig on for that day, not doing anything because Sarah's like, wants to come in and kick some ass.
Her character goes through so many changes. She's like a chameleon.
Because she can take direction and do exactly what you want with so much exacting detail. Whereas if you give her the right note, she's gonna nail it. But if you give it the wrong, if you give her like the wrong direction, it's kind of your fault. It's like it forces you to like really know what you want and really know what you're looking for.
Cut. Perfect take, nerd. Nice throw, man.
Jeremy Suarez, he was the one person that we cast that didn't audition.
We met Jeremy at a cafe.
I remember they called me. They said they had seen me on I think it was the Bernie Mac show. And so I met with them, and I really didn't know anything about the Angry Video Game Nerd, but my brother was like a fanatic already. And so he heard that I was going to go meet up with the guys, and he was like, whatever they say, do the movie, do it.
But the chemistry between James and Jeremy when they were sitting down was so palpable.
As soon as we meet him, the first words out of his mouth is Superman 64. So we sit down and we're talking about video games and Castlevania and just anything but the movie. And then Kevin's sitting there just observing the conversation like, yeah, this is perfect.
The time is right. Do E.T. E.T.
He has a natural exuberance that counterbalances the nerd's like surly kind of curmudgeonly ways in a way where I feel like they were like the perfect counterpoint to each other.
Cooper is the perfect yin to James is yang. He is as enthusiastic as James is angry. Like, he's a really fun character to play because he's always at a 10. He's always super, super excited about everything. And with good reason, because he's been wanting what he's getting in this movie for a long time, and that's to see the E.T. review. So he has a really unique insight into the world. He's one of the few people who knows about the sizeless bologna sandwich.
Get your ass in here. Didn't I tell you to get for them sticks?
Gotta go fight.
He has this overbearing mother, and I'm sure a lot of gamers can relate to that, and getting out from under that wing. And he's also the audience's kind of representative because the Nerds fans, they've been watching his videos, and I'm kind of their voice to kind of egg the nerd on throughout the movie. That was really necessary because everybody wants to have, you know, a chance to hang out with the nerd and play some old video games. Cooper's the guy who's gotten to do it, and he's kind of honed it into an art form, you know? He's not only the nerd's best friend, but he's like the nerd's manager, he's the nerd's cameraman, he's everything.
For the role of Mandi's boss, Bernie Cockburn, we had many different ideas of how the role could go, but once we saw Bobby Reed, we knew that was it.
I've been an actor for 50 plus years, always an actor. My mother would say, "Can you just be yourself?" I'd be like, "Why?"
He's the guy that like is the insomniac, over-caffeinated spaz.
The thing about Bobby is we just let him invent the character. We let him improvise.
James and Kevin let you play, which is an actor's favorite thing. At least it's my favorite thing. Boy, you just want to not be, "Oh, get that line right, you idiot." No, that's death to an actor. You want to be able to let it rip. For Bernie Cockburn, I flavored it with a little Milburn Drysdale, but a lot of Bugs Bunny. A lot of Bugs Bunny with the timing. Like, remember when he manicures the monster's fingernails and he said, "Let's dip our little patties in the water." So there's a rhythm to speaking that is pure Bugs Bunny, but you apply it to other people's lines, and it comes out good. They're doing all the work for me. The Mel Blanc voices are doing the work for me, so that's kind of good.
There's going to be like tents, and there's going to be snacks, and there's going to be...
And I go make movies for the snacks. I don't care about the pay. I like snacks.
For the villain character, we wanted to have this over-the-top kind of 80s bad guy, and we got the name Dark Onward from sort of a typo in a video game, Legendary Wings.
General Dark Onward is the man in charge of security at Area 51.
Stephen MENDEL is a fantastic actor.
Well, when I first read the script, I went, "Wow, this is crazy."
God, where's my fucking arm?
And I read the script and I looked, okay, no legs, and he blows off one arm, and he blows off the other arm, and keeps functioning throughout.
This is a part that requires broad acting and big, over-the-top villain, kind of twirl your mustache kind of part. He's one of those people that are so funny and impossible not to watch, and so good with improv that he's a show stealer.
So for the villain's main sidekick character, at first I thought we needed someone who was also very over the top. But then we saw HELENA BARRETT and she played it really straight and it was perfect. And that's actually the perfect way that it should go, because in order to have a really comedic over the top character, you need to have somebody else playing the straight character to, you know, counterbalance it.
Make this thing go faster! Get the thing and going!
It helps if you shake me, sir.
Really?
No!
And when you put someone like Steven and Helena together, you have comic gold. And if you haven't seen the extra scenes of them improvising in the Humvee, get ready to laugh.
What the hell is the matter with you, McButter?
Long list, sir. Starts with my mom.
Helena playing McButter was quick and a lot of fun to work with, because she had this deadpan character, and but she would come up with pure gold sometimes.
I'm not wearing any panties. She was great. She was fun to portray. She enveloped everything strong, provocative, and completely out of the box. I kind of wanted to know if McButter went home and put her hair down and had a glass of wine, or if she went to the bar and arm wrestled.
Helena, she is amazing. That girl can beat you and your friends up.
That was really cool working with HELENA BARRETT, because she's not only like a hilarious and fantastic actress, but she's also like this kick-ass stunt woman.
It's got to be the most physical part in the movie. But she's also awesome at driving stunt cars.
Every time you see the Humvee driving, that's her driving it.
So I got to do the car chase. Hey, we're gonna put boxes and fruit, and we're gonna put some fun stuff, you know, and it was like, go hit it. And you're like, awesome. It was kind of a play day of car gags. We got to a point where Kevin was like, oh, we want a follow behind car. We want a camera car. And, you know, Some people spend lots of money on those expensive crane camera cars. Not us. We got Kevin's Prius.
Of course, you know, I'm gonna volunteer my Prius that I'm leasing to like kind of like, you know, barrel through this village. So we slapped the camera on the top of my car.
Like, yeah. And he's like, just use my Prius. And we're like, yeah. Oh, okay. We'll get in that Prius. We'll make that Prius rock. I think the Prius's computer lost it. It pretty much dinged at me, told me I'd lost traction, that, you know, everything was wrong. I think it might have told me tire pressure was inaccurate. I mean, it was pretty much telling me, whatever you're doing, stop now.
Can I see you in here for a moment?
And the nerd is a character that's always going around being angry and cursing, so we wanted to have someone who's way crazier than that, just to show who the nerd has to answer to and make the nerd more sympathetic.
You're sicker than fucking sick! Yeah, and I have the DNA to prove it! All right, I'll see you at 8.
So we got comedian Eddie Pepitone.
I loved playing that part because I got to scream, which is what I do in stand-up comedy. I rant sort of like James rants about how shitty video games are, and as a stand-up, I rant about how shitty life can be. James is the angry video game nerd. I'm the angry comedian.
You know, you have like a master comedian, a master improv guy, where when they like create a whole backstory for a character that's only like on screen for like, you know, 30 seconds or whatever.
You're the one who took your hand and put it in the slot!
You know, he's doing the lines that we wrote, but he's adding like these little details about like how like he had a wife and who's like was pregnant, and he's just like, I knew my semen was good.
Go for the gun!
I'd rather not.
Go for the gun!
Eddie's ad-libs had the entire crew laughing, and everybody else, they're behind the cameras and all the equipment, so they're covering their mouths and looking away. But me, I have no choice but to sit there, look him in the face, and try not to laugh.
You are so sick. The only thing that's sicker than you is a fuck. You're fuck sick.
And you know, he's a total creep boss, so it's like he's creating a backstory about like how maybe there was like what almost felt like there was some type of dead body they were trying to get rid of or something, and there was DNA involved. And it's like, you know, it's like anytime you need DNA to prove anything, it's like a really bad deal, you know what I mean? So it's just like these vague details that grow the world of like, okay, well, what is he doing outside of work, you know what I mean?
You get this sold!
That is excellent.
The prophecy is almost fulfilled.
For the role of Dr. Zandor, we had to have somebody compelling. And when we went to the audition and we saw Time Winters, we knew he was it.
The only audition that got a standing ovation.
I found the instrument of my retribution. Video games.
Wow. That was very, very good.
Acting, when you're on stage, you get immediate applause, whereas when you're a filmmaker, it takes about 2 years to eventually get the applause, if you ever do. So I was lured by the applause.
Time Winters, man, it's just like he got up there and he was just like, I was talking with my wife last night, and I kind of think this is a jolly good script, and it's about hope, that there's still hope. And we're like, yes, there is still hope. There's hope for you that you're going to get this part. And like we stood up and we were like, this is the greatest.
Dr. Zandor is a fellow who has the best intentions, a little crazy, lives in the desert all alone. He's the predictor of that the prophecy is about to be fulfilled. The mentor character. Not Morpheus, maybe a little Obi-Wan Kenobi, without the really neat robes. A mad scientist who's done something that affects everyone else in the story. That's what was attractive. This something very 1940s about. It's sci-fi, it's horror, it's comedy. These are all things that are really close to my heart. And I'm very grateful I got a chance to do it. This was heaven. This is exactly the kind of film that I always wanted to be involved with. Always.
Our whole cast was great. And for me, the most amazing thing was that I got to act with all these people. That's an opportunity that I don't often get